You're listening to the Jōrni Podcast. What if healing your trauma could unlock a future filled with empowerment and possibility? Find out more in today's episode. This episode contains adult subject matter and listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Jōrni Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we talk about how the hardest experiences in life can lead to the most meaningful transformations. We discuss how changing the way we view our personal story can help us move from pain and self-doubt to a place of strength and happiness. Irina Shehovsov is the founder of Reclaim Your Life and a 5-time #1 international best-selling author. As a certified NLP trainer, timeline therapy and hypnotherapy master coach, she empowers women over 40 to heal from toxic relationships and restore their well-being through her holistic mentorship program, Happiness Academy. Irina also hosts the podcasts Single Parent Success Stories and Reclaim Your Life with Irina, inspiring listeners to reclaim their joy and pursue their dreams. Her mission is to help women believe in themselves and generate happiness from within, no matter the circumstances. Here is my interview with Irina Shehovsov. Hi, Irina. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because transforming trauma into triumph is such an amazing topic for our conversation today. And I have a feeling that a lot of our listeners will really benefit from us talking about that. It's a big, big topic. Stress, trauma, anxiety, PTSD, all of those things rolled in there. So I can't wait to dive in and hear your perspective on everything. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Petra, for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to have you here. And would you like to share maybe a little bit about yourself and some pieces of your story that might be connected to what you do today, and let our listeners know a little bit about what it is that you do today?
Thank you. What kind of inspired my journey, or who am I today? I'm a single parent of 2 kids, a 10 and 15-year-old. I have 2 podcasts, Single Parent Success Stories and Reclaim Your Life with Irina, where the main goal is to bring people hope. No matter how dire the circumstance, everything is possible. We have that power and we have the resources within ourselves. We just might not know of them right now at the moment. My journey began in 2015 when I became suddenly a single parent, actually in 2014, of a newborn and a 5-year-old. And I was living in this depressive state of mind where I didn't know who I was anymore. I was someone else's mom, someone else's spouse, but who I was, I no longer knew. Or maybe I had a midlife crisis, as they call it. I don't know. And I was living in this miserable state of life. Suddenly felt like life was ending. I didn't know how to move forward until I was standing on a train platform one morning and missing my train by seconds. And I was so fed up of constant rush of a daily morning commute and rushing. I felt like I was rushing to my death while I didn't feel like I was living. And I decided at that moment that we didn't come here to suffer. Life is so much bigger and better, and it is possible. I didn't know how or what or when, but I made a decision at that moment that I wanted to change. And that kind of started the journey of personal development and growth, attending seminars, listening to audios. And what culminated in September 2019, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. It was my first live event, which I attended. And I got inspired by Evan Carmichael, who said there is not enough belief in this world today, and you should help somebody who is a step behind you. And this is when I decided to help women like myself who felt lost, who felt broken, who felt like their life was over. I wanted to help them realize that the best life is yet to come. And every opportunity, every experience that we see is just an experience. It's not to label it as good or bad. It's just for us to kind of understand. And if it didn't work out our way, we can learn something. And then with that positive information, positive lessons from a negative experience, we can take a different step towards where we are going. And then in 2020, I created a course called Happiness Academy. It's kind of combining, I believe we're holistic beings, and we combine physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states of being in our journey in creating habits in those areas that allow us to thrive. And then Single Parent Success Stories was born as my first podcast. And we're in 4.5 years in that journey. It's been incredible. That allowed me to realize one of my dreams of becoming an author. And I was able to be a part of a book. A publisher came on my show, and she was a single parent herself, and she invited me to be a part of the book. And it's been an amazing journey. I also studied neuro-linguistic programming because I'm also the founder of Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Just Reclaim Your Life. That's the podcast name, is with Irina. But Reclaim Your Life is all about live, dream, and grow. And live is about physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health. I believe it's the foundation that we create. Then allows us to dream, to go after our dreams. No matter how small you are, you still have a 5-year-old inside of you to go out and chase your dream. And growing is continuous evolution and growth. And so to fulfill the live bucket of Reclaim Your Life, I went and studied neuro-linguistic programming. It's kind of a manual for your mind. And together with that, timeline therapy and hypnotherapy, that was such transformational experience that years of, I think, if you do just psychotherapy, could not resolve what you could do in this amount of transformational piece that you do in that realm. And then for wellness, I went and attended Mind Valley coaching for wellness, like movement, sleep, nutrition, what our body needs, and also the next fitness program, which is about our physical health, how to strengthen our muscles, how to have vitality in our body. And also in my journey, I attended Toastmasters that allowed me to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. I also gotten myself a voice coach and learned how to sing. So I was able to sing where I couldn't speak. That was also so many benefits came from that area. And then a second podcast started, which is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. This is for people who had a wake-up call that suddenly changed the trajectory of their life and the journey that they are going on. Because no matter how dark the circumstance, change is possible, reclaiming life is possible. And I do that by bringing people who had that wake-up call, maybe they had a near-death experience when they realized they see life in a different view, in a different way. That has been the journey. And
Thank you for sharing that. There's a lot packed into that. What seems like a short time span, but when I think of it, it's a good 10 years plus that you've been working on this. So, yeah, amazing. I do feel that there's such a great need in this world, and there has been, for holistic approaches and things that don't just look at our physical body for symptoms, but really address us as holistic and energetic beings with so many different levels to find true health, not just maybe making a headache go away or fixing a cut on our finger, but true health that really inspires us to heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and then have that capacity to actually align with what we want out of our lives. So that's amazing that you support people and single parents in that journey to find what truly lights them up. And do you apply the NLP and the hypnotherapy and the timeline therapy in your coaching container then, or you've put kind of, I'm assuming, all of this together in your programs as well?
Yes, I do. Combining all of those things, it gives you a certain degree of, I think I call it, you have a tool belt of things that you can utilize, and depending on the person, depending on what they are looking for, you can pick a tool from your toolbox and use that for the specific approach.
I find that that's very empowering, because instead of just telling people, oh, we're going to fix you or we're going to help you, it's so empowering to actually just show some tools and say, okay, this here is for your own empowerment. And when you feel the need, you can pick whichever one suits you best and do your own healing and find your own path. So Sounds like a really empowering approach that you're using. And you did write your own book as well, not just a chapter in a book, but your very own book. So tell us what that's called and how that ties into working with people or your own story. How does your book fit into all of that?
Yes. So the book is called The Gift Inside: 12 Steps to Heal Unworthiness, Brokenness, and Victim Mentality and Find Your Happy. And the idea for the book started 4 years ago. And this year it's finally going to come to be realized. It's been an incredible journey. How it ties back, I am all about happiness, bringing joy. I think oftentimes we forget about that. We don't think it's important. We follow some kind of a program of who we are expected to be as humans. And we listen so much to figures of authority or people in our life of like, oh, you're supposed to go and do this kind of job and you're supposed to be this kind of person. But what about you as a person on the inside? Don't you have dreams? Don't you have goals? Don't you have desires? Because the greatest regret of people who are dying is the things they haven't tried, the things they have not pursued. And why did we come here on earth if we are here just to live someone else's life? We gotta do our own life. We gotta follow our own dream. Yeah, and maybe it's silly because you gotten that dream, not your spouse or your parent, and they might not get you where you're coming from. They might think you're crazy. But it's not for them. You have gotten it. It is your duty, your job, your purpose to have it realized. And when we are in pursuit of a purpose, when we are living in joy, our life becomes so much more empowered. We feel a sense of fulfillment, and we don't feel like we are not good enough. We don't feel like we are broken. Oftentimes, when we are experiencing some traumatic event, all we see when we're right in the middle of it is how everybody did this to us. Anytime we do that, we're pointing a finger outwards while the other fingers are pointing back at us. And our world is just an external mirror showing us what we have inside of ourselves. And if we get triggered, it means there is a portion of us that we don't love. It's a portion of us we don't like. And it might be very horrific. You feel very like, how could I? I'm not this kind of person. But if you are triggered, it means you are. It means you still didn't answer that question. The book helps people find that happiness on the inside. I don't believe we are broken. I believe we are whole. We just simply forgotten who we are, and we need to remember who we are. And in the book, I'm sharing tools that help myself realize that happiness on the inside, that it is possible, combining again physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states of being, and discovering what are some of the habits. I'm not saying my habits are the habits. I'm just sharing that this is possible, because sometimes it's like you don't know what you don't know. You're not aware. It's outside of your immediate experience. And what if you open your mind a little bit and discover, oh, there is this tool available. What if I try it? What have I got to lose? So simply sharing tools that helped on my personal journey of rediscovering happiness by implementing them in your life and discovering what is possible.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing because I feel like so many of us, and myself, I do that too sometimes. We live in sort of this lack mindset or this victim mindset of what is happening to us. Why is the world doing this to us? Why can't we do this and that? And if you are able to change that and to find sort of that, you call it that gift inside, and you're able to come to the other side of that equation with a more empowered mindset, actually, many things change in life. They did for me in a big way. So I completely appreciate what you were saying there. And it's a huge, huge journey that leads to so much reward if you come on it and you can look in those spaces. Like you said, to hold up those mirrors and look in those spaces that are uncomfortable. When people are kind of stuck in these, we can call them victim mentalities, I suppose, where we are doing a lot of finger pointing to the external, how do we start to move out of that mindset and to move into a more empowered place? I feel that many people feel like they don't have choices. They're stuck in life that the way it is, and they just must work because they have to have a roof over their heads and care for their children. And there isn't room to dream or to just pursue what makes them happy. So how do we move out of this mentality into a more empowered mindset?
I think the first thing is to recognize where you are, because sometimes we live in denial. The first thing is practicing gratitude. In the middle, when you are in this dark, thick cloud of it, when you feel like you are stuck, look at your life and see on the things that are working. That doesn't have to be grandiose things. They could be simple. The fact that you are breathing, the fact that you woke up this morning, the fact that you can speak, the fact that you have food on your table and you have roof over your head. Simple things like that, because what it does is you start focusing on things in your life that are working. You get out of lack mentality and you step into mentality of abundance. Because once you start recognizing, oh, this is working, your mind naturally is going to follow and present to you what else is working in your life. You would see that progression. It's not going to happen immediately right then, but it takes consistent practice. And it could be simple as when you wake up in the morning, say 3 things you're grateful for. When I wake up, I say, today is going to be an awesome day. Before anybody could say anything, before anybody is in your field, you hit your feet on the floor and you say, today's going to be an awesome day. And 3 things I'm grateful for. I woke up, I can speak, I can see the sun. That's it. That's all you need. That's kind of first thing. A second one is forgiveness. And I know forgiveness is tough, but we are not doing it for other people. Oftentimes we sulk on our negative emotions and we carry them as if they're our prized possessions for years and decades on end. And then we suddenly realize, why is our life so broken? Because all your life, all you were focusing on is what wasn't working, how this person did this to you, and that person did this to you, and you're in this circumstance. But negative emotions and any kind of triggers or quarrels, they're not there for us to hold on for dear life. They're there for us like a little alert that goes in your head, like, this doesn't feel right. It means you got to make a different choice in that moment. That's all it is. It's not about, living with it for many, many years on end. And then you become this different person that you no longer recognize. So forgiveness could be practiced as simply as, don't take these quarrels of today. If you had an argument with somebody, don't take it into your next day. Leave it behind in the past, because every day is an opportunity for you to have a gift of the present moment, starting your day fresh. So when you go to bed, remember 3 things that worked. Don't remember the things that were broken or that you had an argument with somebody. On the grand scheme of things, is it really worth your time to be obsessed over this negative argument or this event? Is it really worth it when you look at it from a high level? Is it something you're going to think about on your deathbed, or this is this temporary thing that's just going to pass? Practicing gratitude and forgiveness could be a first step on the path of coming out of being in the darkest of clouds. And then, of course, there are many other tools available, like coaching, like hypnotherapy, like timeline therapy to release negative emotions. But I think first step is recognition, gratitude, and forgiveness. Those are the first immediate steps an individual can take. Does not require any money. It does not require any time. It just takes your recognition that you want to get out of this place. Some people love their trauma. They love to live their married to their trauma. And if you take that away, they're not. It takes a point of recognition for a person to realize, okay, this life is not working. I got to do something different.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's often some kind of benefit in staying in the drama because it feels comfortable and safe, and then we don't have to come out of it. We're familiar with that devil. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you touched before on the fact that your approach to all of this is holistic and that you like to work with emotional, mental, spiritual, physical to make sure everything is combined. So if we start off with practicing gratitude and forgiveness, and we start from that point, how can we ensure that this journey that we're taking is addressing all of these different levels? It sounds like there's quite a bit to it to make sure that we're touching on all these things. So how do people know when they're actually addressing something holistically, and how do you work with yourself and with your clients?
So I start with a physical body because it's something we can see and feel in the mirror. And it's not whether you're skinny or not. It's not about that. It's just how do you see yourself as a person? And yes, it's integrating all those little pieces of physical health is about morning routine. How do you start your day? What kind of intentions are you setting? And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be very simple and very easy, but something that you can commit to. It's not you doing it for somebody else, you're doing it for yourself. I think that's the first thing, is to recognize who you're doing this for and why. And then with morning routine comes wellness and fitness. How much do you sleep? How well are you hydrated? What are you eating? What are you putting in your body? Because as they say, garbage in, garbage out. Think of yourself as this Ferrari. What kind of gasoline would you put in a Ferrari? How often would you check if brakes are working? If you have all the right tools in it so that it runs like a Ferrari, not like a Honda Civic or something. You have this amazing, beautiful, wonderful body that is so intelligent, that does so many things for you, and you don't appreciate it, you don't recognize it. Take everything for granted, speaking, seeing. I took walking for granted until I dislocated my knee. Now every day I walk, I say, thank you, my knees, for walking. And yes, it might sound funny, but I appreciate everything that my body is doing for me. And then when you start to appreciate your body, love your body, then let's take a look at your emotional state. How are things working in that realm? And practicing things again like forgiveness, gratitude, meditation, which I call the inner shower of the mind, to clear debris of yesterday and start your day fresh as new. And then how do we deal with when we are stuck in the past? What can we use? I'm just using approaches from neuro-linguistic programming by releasing emotions, and also by recognizing that every experience is an opportunity for us to learn. There is no failure in life. Everything is a feedback mechanism that allows us to pick what didn't work and then make a different choice next time. Like Thomas Edison discovered 10,000 ways of how not to have a light bulb, as opposed to he failed 10,000 times. So it's the approach that you take in life. And then I also focus on emotional part is also hobbies. I believe when we grow older, we think, who am I to have a hobby? Hobbies are for kids. No matter how old you are, you gotta do that thing, because in hobbies you discover a little bit fractal of yourself, a little part of yourself that maybe was missing. You could add joy into your life, some perspective into your life. Being present is another one. When we are stuck in the past, we forget who we are. We are always somewhere else and we miss out on the present moment. And when I say present moment, is savoring a meal that you are having, or seeing a smile on a child's eyes, or seeing a sunrise, how the sky changes colors, and be right there, be present for it, not miss your life. Because if you want to change your life, you got to be present for it. Because in every moment of now, we create our future. When we are stuck in the past, we create more of that, of what happened in the past, for our present and for our future. Because for our mind, it doesn't matter if something happened a year ago, 5 seconds ago, it's all happening right here, right now. Same parts of the brain light up as we experience and relive all of those emotions. We are like that masochist that keeps eating poison and hoping another person is going to suffer, not realizing that the more we do it, we change our neurology, we become this different person that we don't recognize, and letting go of that. I called working on all those little different areas, because we are holistic beings. We're not just one-dimensional. We have all these areas. We wear so many hats. We have so many roles in our life and how we approach life. And one feeds into another. If you didn't have a good night's sleep, you're going to ruin your whole day. Or it might affect parts of it. If you didn't eat right, you're not going to think of, oh, what hobby I'm going to do. You're just going to be nursing the pain of the fact that you didn't eat right. It's not about putting bandages on, as we see in modern medicine. It's just a bandage. Nobody gets down to the root cause of the issue. It's all about just so you keep on going, but not actually getting down to the bottom of the thing. So getting that resolved and then changing how your life is unfolding. And then the whole kind of piece about the gift inside is finding that peace. I don't believe we are broken. I believe we simply forgotten who we are, and we all have a purpose why we are here. We all have that gift, and it is inside of us. It's not somewhere outside. It's not in the next opportunity, but it is in the things that we are, who we truly are. Oftentimes we forget that we are human beings and we become human doings. We think we got to do, and we forget to simply be. And sometimes the fact that you just being, you could inspire somebody, you could help somebody in a way how you show up, in a way that what things you bring to the table, and helping others, serving others in the sense that only you can. We all bring our special magic to any kind of experience, to any situation. For us, it might feel like nothing. I'm just drinking water, for example. And for somebody else, this could be a great deal that you were able to help them with this medicine in a way.
Yeah, that's really well put. And I love all the different components that come together here. I imagine that some pieces of this might be easier to work out than others. So if we're saying we're sleeping well, we're looking after our diet, we've added exercise to our life. So these are some of the pieces that we can usually figure out a little easier. But when we're coming to this purpose part or this passion part, there could be a time, and that was for me too, when you ask me what feels aligned or what do I want in life, I couldn't even tell you. I had no idea. And I feel that a lot of people who've gone through trauma, especially, or are living under a very chronic experience of stress or pain or illness, they often are so much so in survival mode that there isn't even that space to think about what they would even like in life. How do we kind of uncover this gift inside to find out what actually makes us happy or where we want to go in this current life? Is there kind of a way that you help your clients with that, to start digging into that and giving them some tools to discover what it is that they might want to do in this life?
Yeah, that's why we start with physical and emotional kind of setting the level field of things, of those basic practices, basic habits. Because once, like a Maslow pyramid of needs, once you fulfill the foundation, you open up to the next level. You're ready for the next level. So one way of getting there is looking at your values, your beliefs, what makes those up, what is valuable to you, what do you consider important. Another tool in the box is called Ikigai, when it's the intersection of things that you are passionate about, things that are working, things you can get paid for, and you're naturally talented in it. And I believe hobbies also add a little of component. That's why you go out, you discover what it is that only you kind of can develop, only you can create, because you can find a little bit of it in yourself, a little bit of that passion in yourself, core beliefs. And we have a process that allows a person to discover what those are and then rank them in a chronological order. And it's not to say a purpose is one purpose. A purpose can change because we evolve. Recommendation is to do every 6 months, do an evaluation of how your life is unfolding, what is relevant to you. You might notice that after 6 months is no longer applicable. What, let's say, used to bother you before now doesn't bother you anymore, because we get different set of challenges and problems that come our way that we can resolve with a different set of tools and resources. So it is a journey to getting to what your purpose is. And the tools like your beliefs, your values, Ikigai, and then hobbies make that a toolbox again that allows you to figure out what it is. And sometimes you got to try things. Oftentimes we think, oh, this is my purpose, or this is my purpose. But if you're just talking about it, but you're actually not taking action, you're never going to find it. If you try it, at least you've tried it and you're kind of good with yourself. I tried it. On your deathbed, you're no longer wondering what could have been. You just have success stories and maybe failure stories, but at least you have tried. You didn't just thought about it, but you went ahead and did it.
That's a really good point. There's that action component. So, yeah, we have to go out and try those things to find kind of what our purpose is in this life. Look in different places, look in different corners, try different modalities. So, yeah, That sounds like a really holistic and wholesome and very empowering approach to all of this. So thank you for sharing that. And of course, you work with clients in your own practice and your own business. So what are some of the programs and services that you have available if our listeners are kind of curious now and they're wondering how they can wander on their own path of happiness and then maybe get your help with that? How could they work with you?
There is an online course called Happiness Academy. There is also a morning routine mini course that people can discover how to start their morning. It's a simple, easy way. Then there is one-on-one programs as well, where I help release negative emotions and limiting decisions and take care of those needs. I can also do hypnotherapy, working with individuals to discover what they need to heal with. And it's such a profound element as well. And then there are podcasts, there are books that are free resources. There is a YouTube channel called Happiness Academy _ where I share the resources as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And we, of course, will be linking to all of Irina's offering in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there. And of course, if you'd like to listen into her own podcasts, The Single Parent Success Stories and Reclaim Your Life with Irina, you can do that from your, I'm assuming, favorite podcast provider. I'm guessing you're on all the platforms with those. So make sure you check those out for maybe some more depth also on what we've talked about today. And does your podcast kind of expand on some of the things that we talked about today so our listeners can get some more on that?
Yes. Single Parent Podcast is resources for single parents to help inspire and bring them hope and reclaim your life is more of what we talked about today, how to create those habits in your life that allow you to thrive.
So there you go. We'll link to that in the show notes as well. And of course, if you'd like to get a copy of Irina's book, is the book been released yet so they can buy that book?
It's coming out in 2 weeks.
Perfect. Okay. So by the time this episode airs, you guys can all go find a copy of this book. So we'll be sure to link to that. And tell us, the book is called The Gift Inside, correct?
The Gift Inside, 12 Steps to Find You Happy, Heal Unworthiness, Brokenness, and Victim Mentality.
Amazing. Okay, so we'll link to that. So by the time you're listening to this, everyone, you can go and get your copy of it. It'll be officially launched and you can find your own toolbox and add to it with the book and with some of the resources that Irina has available. And if you'd like to work with her, reach out and consult, speak with her, and get on your own path to healing, get on your own holistic path on your journey to find out what lights you up in this lifetime. Such an important part of our overall well-being to be happy with what we're doing and what we're living. So thank you for sharing that with us, Irina. We'll put all of that in the show notes. And I just want to thank you again for being here today. I feel like we actually covered a lot of ground today and kind of peeked into a lot of the different corners. So thank you for sharing all of that with us and your wisdom and the knowledge that you've gathered in your own journey that you're putting together now for other people to put in their toolboxes. It's such fascinating work. So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. And I hope that we get to hear more. I'm going to check out the book and look at the 12 steps. And I can't wait. I feel like turning any kind of trauma that we've had into sort of the post-traumatic growth and a triumph in our own lives is such an important part of our healing journey. So absolutely wonderful resources. And thanks again for sharing those, Irina. Take care. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Jōrni Podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Jōrni on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejorni.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.